Well, we want to introduce you today to a couple that is making a splash in the Omaha area. In fact, at her final State of the City address, Mayor Stothert mentioned them as a couple of entrepreneurs who moved from Boston in 2018 to Omaha because there was a lot of real estate development opportunity here, and they are getting really active building here in Omaha. I want to introduce you to Bryan and Leigh Mueller. Bryan and Leigh, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you guys for having us. Appreciate it.
We're excited to be here.
Well, you guys have a great story. You are, if I remember correctly, New York natives?
Boston.
So grew up on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So we moved here about 7 years ago. I grew up in New Jersey, actually.
Okay. And you were Long Island, Leigh?
Yes, I was Long Island. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys went to school in Philadelphia.
We did. Yep. We went to St. Joseph's University in Philly, and that's kind of where we met.
Okay. And then first job after Philadelphia, if I remember from our conversation a few months ago, wasn't that in New York? Did you go to New York?
Well, first job, moved back up from Philadelphia into New York, New Jersey area. And we actually, entrepreneurs at heart, we opened a bakery. Was the first gig outside of
You
college.
pick all the easy vocations.
Oh, my gosh. Time to make the donuts. We were up early, in there late.
Sweet venture, though. That's
It
cool.
was.
Yeah.
That was a great commercial. It's time to make the donuts.
Yes.
So you got out of the bakery business, and then what happened?
Yeah, baking was not our calling.
Then you slept in.
Yeah, exactly. So entrepreneurs at heart, we ended up moving up to Boston at that time after the bakery where we joined the corporate ranks. So I joined a software company out of Cambridge.
I was at Mass General, so I did development for Major Gifts. And, it was having a corporate job was obviously more stable than the bakery and kind of owning your own business. And it really wasn't until we started to have a family. We loved both of our careers, but we kind of took a step back and said, I don't think this is our path. This might not be the right path for us.
So at that time, we were starting a family, so we sat down and we said, how do we architect our life? And as we started doing research, that's what brought us out here to Omaha.
And we kind of, the way we look at life, we ask ourselves, there are three really big questions and three major questions that we feel you need to answer to have this fulfilling, happy life, right? It's going to be who you spend your time with, what you do, and then where you live, your location. And again, that's kind of one of the reasons why we took a step back to say, where do we want to live? Where do we want to start our family?
And weather was like number 8 or 9.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
It was probably 10.
Well, you're used to these coasts.
We're used to the seasons, but I have to say it gets a little bit colder, a little bit different type of wind chill out here.
When you're in mid-continent, the summers are hotter, the winters are colder, and the wind blows harder.
100%. Yes.
So we're talking with Bryan and Leigh Mueller, and so Trenton's asked you before the show. He said, "Okay, you were in Boston. Would you throw a dart at a map? But how did you guys settle on Omaha as your new destination?"
Yeah, it's a great question because we get that a lot from individuals when we said, "Hey, we're moving out to Omaha, Nebraska." I think we started to do some research about how we wanted to architect our life, and real estate was one of those things that we wanted to invest in and wanted to do. So as we did research of stable economies, the pace of life we wanted, the barriers to entry to be able to do it.
Cost of living.
Omaha kept coming up in those top 10, top 20 list. Now, family is also very important to us. So I had a brother who moved out here about 20, 25 years ago. So that kind of sealed the deal for us.
Had you visited very much over the years?
I visited probably
Twice.
only a handful of times. Yeah, 2 to 3 times. Came out here, helped power wash his fence and things along those lines. And even he got married out here at the Jocelyn Museum. And just to see the difference in 20 years ago from where we are now is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and so you guys got started in development and owned some multifamily buildings, but now you're getting ready to break ground on a building called the Mueller after your last name, and this is going to be at 22nd and Howard Street. Talk to us a little bit about this project and what it'll be like and I don't know what it'll look like when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, we're not career developers, but we certainly are interested in the future of Omaha. Again, we've only been here for about 6-7 years now, and it's a city we have kind of both loved or grown to love for sure. And we want it to be a city, as we look to the future of what Omaha could be, a city that our kids will not only grow up in, but wherever their life might take them, they will either stay or want to come back to. So when we kind of had the opportunity to physically develop. Like you mentioned, we were in real estate a little bit before we, were developers. We property managed some other buildings. We saw this as an opportunity to create thoughtful density in the urban core. And this building it's about 38 units. What it does for the city is, as far as density, density, as we all know, it equates to
Vibrancy. Like you guys talk about all the time.
It creates culture. It creates safety. And what it does is it allows us to grow Omaha not only bigger, but it allows it to grow smarter.
And it also consolidates services, utilities, and all that kind of stuff, so that it's less cost than spreading out west.
Yeah, I think it's a classic infill project. So it's a community right there that New Style has built up a vibrant area, and this location was underutilized, single-family home that we saw an opportunity to continue what they've started to build out there. I think we're at a crossroads here, right? We can build a lot of building on the fringe and going out, or we can build in and really create that urban density and strengthen the core. I think that's a key aspect to what we want to help do within Omaha.
I just want to make sure you guys are spending enough time together.
I mean, we work and live together. I'm not sure it's enough time.
Well, I think we checked that first box of the question of like who you partner with.
Happy
right?
wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is our motto.
Smart. Brian's a smart guy.
Yes.
So this building will be 4 stories plus a level of underground parking?
Correct. 4 over 1. So it's a podium. So that parking underneath was a big decision for us.
It's expensive, isn't it?
Very expensive. Yep. So it's not a lot of units, but when we look at the trajectory of where we see Omaha going, we think that's going to be an asset long term. And as we talk to the community and individuals in that area, we were sitting at the planning board one time and someone leaned over and said, hey, I took a look at your project and appreciate that parking that you put in there. I think it's an important aspect, but it is something that, as you go through value engineering, people are like, how about we get rid of this parking lot on the bottom here?
Yeah,
because you don't have to have parking in downtown service, right?
Correct.
No, we did rezone it to CBD, so we wouldn't have to have that requirement for parking. But it certainly was a pretty large decision, and one of the lessons that, we learned as far as scalability and the economics of that sweet spot of the number of units. Again, this is only 38, but when you get, past that as far as 60 to 100, that economics of having the cost of that garage gets spread out over the units more economically for sure. So this is a challenge.
And this, Leigh, where this building is going up, 22nd and Howard Street, that area has seen a lot of renewal in recent years. In fact, just maybe not even a year ago, the Flats on Howard, a pretty big project, wrapped up. Several years before that, all the other historical buildings in that area were redone. And so it's right there. It's right there, and you're putting this on a really small piece of land.
This is postage stamp development. I think one of the things that is key to us is how do you build on that, in Omaha and create those kind of small, mid-size kind of areas. But to your point, New Style has really built up that area, and I think we want to continue that legacy. Their kind of thought there is work hard, play hard, and part of our building is going to be co-working space. So if you're living there, you can go down to a work pod or something along those lines. Or if you're Creighton student, you can go somewhere and study. So the constructability on the postage stamp is really small, but I think it's something we need to get really good at here in Omaha to be able to continue that density in the urban core, especially as we have these economic engines like the streetcar come. We need to see more development like this along the line.
Yeah, I mean, this project certainly is a good opportunity to say that urban infill can happen in Omaha, not just in the bigger cities like Boston and New York and Denver.
We have some guests with us today, Leigh and Bryan Mueller. They are developers of a call it a 5-level building right around 22nd and Howard Street. And want to ask you guys in the time we have left, first of all, your building is in the streetcar zone of influence. Tell us a little bit about what role the future streetcar had in you guys deciding to do this project and what the project looks like.
Yeah, so the streetcar itself is about, less than a block away from the current building. And what the streetcar we felt was extremely compelling. The idea of transit and walkability brought to the city of Omaha is what creates the density of an urban fill project like the one we're currently building. And the urban fill density of Omaha is what's going to keep it competitive with other cities. I mean, we definitely need these infill projects here to create a city that, again, our kids one day will want to come back to or stay in.
So when we first saw the land, we didn't actually know the streetcar was going there. So we walked it, we looked at it. As soon as we knew that was happening, we knew it was a no-brainer to invest in that area. When I think of the streetcar, it's an investment. There'll be some price of progress there, but it'll be it's a decision and it's an investment that our future generations will sit in the shade of in order for us to keep up with neighboring cities and peer cities to be able to really keep our kids and everything along those lines here, reduce brain drain, so on and so forth. So major benefit for our project, and I think we need these projects across and up and down that line that's coming in.
So besides a big grocery store downtown, which when we started this show almost, 21 and a half years ago, we always said we need a grocery store downtown. Besides that, with all your travels and being in larger cities, besides more traffic and the chaos of larger cities, what do you see that Omaha needs? Have you talked about things, oh, God, I wish it had this or that?
I think, did you want to go ahead?
No, it needs more urban fill density. I mean, we need a city that is walkable. We need a city that has more humans in it that allows people to feel safe and can get from one place to another, potentially without a car. I mean, right now, again, we do have some parking in the bottom of our building. It's certainly after communication with our neighbors and what the community needs. It is something that was a must, but with the streetcar being within its close vicinity, we feel like projects like this will only allow Omaha, as far as the next chapter of Omaha, to continue.
Yeah. And I think the grocery store is number one, right? You need to have that grocery store. I think people are more and more likely to order their groceries, have them delivered, everything along those lines, and kind of reduces that. But I think we need the transportation. We need the right zoning from city planning and things along those lines to match the streetcar to make sure we have development there. That's things like TIF and so on and so forth that allow us to be able to do it. I think we have a vibrant city. It's where I consider it early innings for Omaha on where we are. We have arts that punch above its weight as it relates to the city. We have great, vibrance, the walkability. Grocery stores, great restaurant scene. I would love. We have some family going back to Boston right now, and man, we are talking about all the restaurants they should be going to. I think we have a great restaurant scene. I would love to see a little bit more of that there as well. And then I just think we need the community to invest in the urban core. I think we need people to patron the restaurants that we have down there, the different theaters and so on and so forth. But grocery stores are number one probably to get down there.
Just one more minute with Bryan and Leigh Mueller, who are developing the Mueller, a 5-level building at 22nd and Howard Street. Guys, as you look into the future, you just told us something you'd like to see or need in the urban core. When you look in the future 10 years from now, your building will have been open for quite some time at that point. What does the urban core in Omaha look like? What do you envision?
I envision a place, similar to where we've come from as well, but also different, where people are walking to grocery stores. People are using the transit system and being able to get from one place to another quickly and safely. And more importantly, we kind of envision a city that is exciting and has a high energy level and a young energy level. We want to build Omaha for its next chapter, and we want to build the next generation of Omaha. And the streetcar and, again, the grocery stores and urban infill like this is only the tipping point to what will bring us there.
Bryan, anything to add, or is there?
I think she nailed it. I think we need to continue to innovate. We need to make sure that we have these additional infill properties. I think there isn't a better city that I can think of in the U.S. that's built for a streetcar, with opportunities to develop along it, with a housing crisis. We have 13 renters for every open unit right now. We need to have the development community come into the urban core and really build out that infrastructure. You all had some individuals on the show a couple days ago about infrastructure, right? As you go out on the fringes, you don't have the sewers. You have to build in. You have to build up in the city. And I think we need to see more development, and we need to really invest in that innovation there.
Well, Bryan and Leigh, we appreciate you guys joining us, and more importantly, we appreciate the contributions you're making to Omaha. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.